Hello, everyone. Welcome to Self Love You. My name is Jenna Ryan, and this is my Self Love podcast where I love to talk about self love. I love to talk about ways to treat yourself better, ways to take care of yourself, and ways to protect yourself from things like manipulation. And today I'm going to talk to you about 35 manipulation tactics of toxic people. I'm just going to kind of go through this list so that everyone is aware as I'm talking and doing my podcast. You can be aware of what I'm talking about and how I perceive it to be so that we're all on the same page, because we're going to be talking about these things in the future. I'm going to be doing lots of podcasts for you guys. I hope you love them. When someone is manipulating you, they are seeking power and control over you. They want to own space in your brain. They want you to react. They want to control you. They want the power to control you. And so they use techniques, tactics that are one step ahead of you that are called manipulation tactics. These people they're deceptive. They're scheming. They don't think like regular people. Like, I don't wake up in the morning and think, okay, how can I get some power from someone? But these people do. They literally will think that way. Now, they may not know it, but some of them know it. Sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's subconscious, but that they spend their time scheming on ways to get power from others and ways to control others. If you are not this kind of person, you just have to face the fact that there are people like that out there, and subconsciously they are manipulating. Okay, so these are just the main 35 ways, okay? Love bombing, bait and switch, someone who comes on strong, someone, love bombing was used in the cult tactics of the 70s. The people, in order to get you to join the cult, they would surround you, they would treat you wonderfully, and then boom, you're in a cult, and next thing you know, what do they do in the cults? Not good things. Okay, love bombing is also done in the narcissist abusive relationship. It's a bait and switch tactic. It's a scheme to get someone in a position to where they could be used or they could be controlled. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is flattery and mimicry. Flattery is when someone is just overly gushing about how great you are. It's one thing for someone to compliment you, to encourage you, and to build you up. But it's another thing to have someone just it feels weird. And that's the thing about manipulative techniques and tactics. You just need to know that you have to trust your intuition. You'll feel it. It will feel strange. Unless you're someone that needs a lot of affirmation because you have like a missing unmet need, childhood need for affirmation, you will probably notice flattery immediately and it will feel strange. But if you have a great need to be built up, then you might fall prey to someone who uses flattery in order to get closer to you than they deserve to be, because they may not have the best intentions. Mimicry is kind of like a flattery type thing where they mimic what you do. It's one thing to, buy the same purse that your girlfriend bought, that same brand or whatever, to get ideas off each other. And quite another when you have someone who is literally doing what you're doing. And your passions become their passions. It's really strange to have that occur. When you have someone just totally mimicking you, it's really weird. Number 3 is rug pulling. That is where they use, they come on strong and then they discard you. They come on strong, they devalue you. Or in the crypto world, rug pulling is where the crypto scammer gets you on WhatsApp and flatters you and acts like they want a relationship with you or wants to buy a house or whatever. And then they have you invest in their crypto scheme on a website and then they allow you to win. They allow you to make some money so that you'll go and give more money to them, and then the website goes away. That's called rug pulling. That is a manipulative tactic that's used by manipulative people. Okay, number 4 is guilt tripping. Guilt tripping is huge. This is a huge way that people will manipulate. If you are not aware of guilt tripping, then you're going to fall prey to this, and it's very sad. You've got to get out of feeling guilty for other people's feelings and emotions, and it's very intricate. You have got to start recognizing it, or you're going to be in a lot of ruminating, overthinking, overdoing, overgiving, being overly concerned for things that you can do nothing about. Guilt tripping is when someone, you bring something up to someone that they've done that is not necessarily something you appreciate, that any normal person would be like, oh, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. Just something, you bring up something of your concern. Because everybody has concerns. That's life, But a manipulative person is not going to allow you that power to hold on to your power and have a concern and address your concern directly. So they're going to guilt trip you, and they're going to turn it into themselves. They're going to be like, oh, well, sorry, I da-da-da-da-da. It's always like this guilt trip. Just look for that. Guilt tripping is a huge, one of the biggest manipulative tactics, I think. Number 5, another huge one, is playing the victim. This is a part of guilt tripping, right? They'll play the victim. They'll literally abuse you, attack you, do things to you, and then pretend like they are the victim. Pretend like you're hurting them. And it's like, wait a minute. I'm not hurting you. You're the one who did it, and you're sitting here acting like you're the hurt one. And then it becomes very confusing. Where do you end? Where does the other person begin? If you don't have strong internal and external boundaries, you're liable to fall for someone who is playing the victim. Someone who is playing the victim, it's one thing to have needs and concerns and bring them up to a person, but to just become the eternal victim and the one who is being so destroyed, instead of seeing that they have a part in everything, and instead of seeing life as something that comes and goes and ebbs and flows, they're just going to stay stuck in victim mode, self-defeat, and blaming you. Okay? Here's another one I love to talk about, because I haven't talked about it before, and so I just keep seeing it, and I want to do a whole video on it. It's called DARVO, and it's deny, attack, reverse, victim, offender. And I think that pulls in guilt tripping and playing the victim and some of these other manipulative tactics. But just bookmark DARVO, because that's going on all over the place right now in our culture. Number 7 is also going on. It's gaslighting. That is when a manipulative person, it's so complex. Gaslighting is so complex. It's hard to explain. It comes from the movie Gaslight. It's very, we all know it's more in the vernacular now. But it's when someone acts like something happened that didn't happen. And then they just, they start acting like it happened and talking to you as if it happened, and it didn't happen, and you feel crazy and you feel confused, and you question your own reality. And gaslighting is there to cause us to question our own reality. And it's very prevalent. I will do a whole video on that, or audio, or whatever we're calling this podcast. Okay, number 8, giving commands. Giving commands is a manipulative tactic. It's a control tactic. And it can only be done to people who are weak, with weak boundaries, and who have unmet childhood development needs, and who are going to try to seek external validation. If you're doing those things, people will be able to insert their commands into your brain, okay? Because you'll have wide open conduits where people can just tell you what to do and make suggestions, and you become like in this trance. So you become in a trance where people can give you commands. If you don't have boundaries set up appropriately, if you do not have a strong sense of self, you are in a trance, because that's what codependency is. Codependency is a fantasy bond, and a fantasy bond is a trance. And if you're in a trance, you're very suggestible. It's basically like you're hypnotized by this external pull, this promise of validation that's never going to ever be able to be fulfilled, because no one can fill you from the outside. This validation you seek, that you try to get through codependency, through codependent means, is only found from within and can only be filled from within, and you can't get it externally. So you've got to be careful in allowing other people to give you commands. That's not okay. You have to take a step back and say, wait a minute. And when you wake up to this, you may find that you have people commanding you all around, and you feel like a lazy Susan. One person tells you to do this, and then you have to go to someone else to figure out what to do next. And then, is this person okay with that? And you have to everything you do in life has to do with external approval. That's dangerous. It's not an internal locus of control, and you're being manipulated by life. Okay, I better go quicker than this, or we're going to be here all day. All right, so next one is number 9, silent treatment. The silent treatment makes you feel weird. It makes you feel like you did something wrong. It makes you ruminate. It makes you question yourself. It makes you think about that person way more than you should be. It's so rude. It's so painful to be in a relationship with someone who's giving you the silent treatment and you do not know that it is occurring. And then you wake up and go, I don't like this. And then trying to untangle from the silent treatment has to be one of the worst experiences of all time for me personally. I hate it. And I don't like it. And I don't put up with it. And I am very sensitive to it. And everyone in my life are very responsive and fabulous. And if they're not, then I get a check in my spirit, and I'm like, uh-oh, I don't like silent treatment at all. Okay, that is a manipulative tactic to get you to think about them, to take away your power so that you are always asking them, what did I do wrong? And you're always trying to overcompensate so that they'll answer you. And then they'll do the love bombing, hoovering, let you back in. And then as soon as they get you where they want you, or as soon as you're where they don't want you to be, they use the silent treatment literally to control you like a puppet. The silent treatment is the puppet strings. Number 10, wounded bird. Poor me. Poor me. I'm a wounded bird. I'm a saint. I'm so wonderful, but I'm damaged. I have this problem. I need help. And there's those of us who like to help others, who have empathy, who may be inclined to really live our entire lives around that wounded person and try to fix that person, which is impossible. And they may look powerless, but this wounded bird, poor bird, is controlling, is literally can control the whole show without you knowing. This is so covert. Okay, the next one is lying. 11 is lying and deception. It's just like a manipulator to lie. They lie just like breathing. They don't care. They will lie to get you to believe something, to control you, to get power over you. If they need to lie to do that, they will do it. There's some people that use this tactic more than others. And every manipulator in the world I've ever known will use this tactic to their advantage whenever they want, to whomever they want. And lying can also come by lies of commission and lies of omission. Not telling you information that's vital and important is a lie. It's just the same thing. Number 12 is one-upping. The manipulator will one-up. They'll use tactics to beef themselves up, make themselves look more prestigious, make themselves look more, classy. So they'll one-up you. Like I've got, I'm going to Morocco, and then the other person will be like, well, I'm going to Utah. And so it's more like this sense of they're always having to do better than you. They also have that girl Penelope, I think, on Saturday Night Live, that when it used to be a good show, where she would always have to one up. Like if you went to the dentist, she just got new teeth. Or if you went on a trip. She just went to, the moon. That is one-upping. Number 13, virtue signaling. This has a lot to do with guilt. This is when someone acts, it has a lot to do with the woke environment, woke culture, where someone is really just throwing out this virtue as if they're, this great person and you should follow them. I'm not going to go too far into that one. The next one is 14 is self-righteousness and religiosity. Self-righteous religiosity. These are the people that use the Bible to control, that use spirituality to make you think that they are something that they're not. And if you fall for this game, and if you fall for this behavior because you don't feel good enough, or maybe you are not aware enough of the true meaning of God in relationship and spirituality with God, then you might fall for this act of piousness, religiosity, pharisaical type of, you've got to follow these rules, or if you're this religion, then you're no good, or if you're not this religion, then you're no good, and if you're not religious enough, if you don't do this enough, if you're not good enough, those kinds of things, people can actually manipulate with the Bible, with Bible verses, and it's really, really gross. Don't fall for that. You have a personal relationship with your God, and you get to choose, and God can convict you personally. He doesn't need, somebody coming in. And anybody that's using religion to make you feel a certain way, ew, I would block. In my life, that's just personally. Okay, number 15 is bringing up the past. This is a manipulative tactic. It's kind of like dismissiveness, or I have another one listed on here about pushing your buttons. It's a form of pushing your buttons, but it's very specific, where they'll bring up past negative events in your life. Things remember that time you threw up at that party? I saw a little cute skit about that on TikTok. Or, have you ever had somebody in your life that's like, oh, remember that time? And it's just like a total jab. It's like, here you are going about your day, and then you have someone who's bringing up the past or bringing up something negative about your current situation. Oh, I just don't like that. It's all very manipulative. It is used so the manipulator can take you down a notch and feel better about themselves. Some people are very aware. Some people have a full-blown agenda. Some people want to use you. Some of them want to use you. So some people have different agendas, different levels of manipulation. And so it's interesting to see the different levels. And then we've got the next one, 16, pushing your buttons. People that know your buttons, they know your triggers, and they push them. They know what bothers you. You've let them into your life. You've trusted them with valuable aspects of your personality. They know what will hurt you, and they go out of their way to push your buttons, to cause a reaction. And then if you have a reaction, then their goal is that your reaction will overwhelm their pushing of the buttons. So then you become the bad guy, and then you hold all of the negativity of the situation, and you display, so they don't even have to be anything. They can get you to act out whatever they're feeling through their projections. And they push your buttons, and then you scream because you're triggered, and then your screaming becomes the issue instead of the fact that they pushed your buttons. And then it just gets to be a big mess. And if you're not self-aware, then you're going to overly react. And then you're going to blame yourself and feel shame and go into a shame spiral. That's no fun. Stay away from those. Okay, next one, the game of uproar. My father used to talk about this all the time. Or I remember him talking about this, the game of uproar. And that's where someone maybe wants to get out of a situation, so they just blow something up and they act just like way overboard on something, in order to distract from the issue at hand. So they'll play uproar. It's a diversion tactic. And diversion is a very top contender for one of the main manipulative tactics. Diversion is a huge manipulative tactic. And I guess we'll call Game of Uproar a form of diversion, where they're not talking about the issue. They're making the whole conversation about something completely different than what you're trying to discuss. Okay, if there's an issue with something they did to you or are doing to you, or something you want to clear up, which if you're a full human being, you deserve to be able to have needs and be respected, and they don't want to deal with your needs and don't want to respect you, they are going to divert. They're going to play the game of uproar and use other diversion tactics, like just bring up all kinds of complexity and get you off course for the thing that you're here to discuss, which is whatever it is that you're claiming that they're doing. Number 18 is pretending and acting. Pretending like you're someone that you're not, acting like you're someone that you're not. It's obvious. People can see it. It's becoming more clear every single day, in my opinion, when someone is acting, and they're acting like they're a do-gooder. They're acting like they are somebody they're not. And acting is a form of lying, and it's a form of having a mask, overly nice, saintliness. No one is really like that. And if they are, why? There's a reason. You have got to protect yourself in this world. And if you are overly nice, it's either because you haven't learned that you have to protect yourself yet, or you're manipulative and you have an agenda. I mean, I'm just making that up right now, but it's pretty much how it goes. You can't be overly nice. You can't be, pretend like that, because you've got to be tough in this world, and you've got to have boundaries. And sometimes boundaries don't look nice to people. People may not think you're the nicest thing in the world if you have a boundary, or if you have morals, or if you have standards, or you're not a sellout. Then people aren't going to love you. If you don't sell out, you won't be loved. Okay? If you stick to your guns and stay true to yourself, everybody in the world's not going to love you. If they do, there should be a question. Why? There's somewhere you're compromising. And okay, number 19 is smear campaigns. Huge, big tool for the manipulative person, entity. Smear campaigns, smearing another person so that other people will have a perception of that person as if they are something that they are not, harming their character, damaging their reputation, making up lies, spreading lies, making innuendo comments, trying to, smear campaigns. It's a very big manipulative tactic. It can be big and it can be small. It can be insidious. It can be daily, where someone is feeding other people information about you on the daily, that is a daily smear campaign. And you don't even know it's happening. And you just know that there's a weird feeling and you don't know why. And it's a smear campaign. You have to trust your gut. If you have that weird feeling, you have got to stop and take care of it. Do something about it. Distance, figure out why. And start knowing every single one of your feelings is like a note on a piano. Get to know who you are. Get to know how you feel. And begin to connect the dots. And because these things are so covert, they'll go under your radar. Because I think, what do they say, like 80% of what goes on is in your subconscious mind. We don't have time to process all of these manipulative tactics in our conscious mind. We only have so much bandwidth. And all of these things are used to deceive us and get us away from our truth and away from our feelings, so that they can take us over and have power and control over us. So we have to really stay tuned and connected to our intuition, which is our deep subconscious that gives us little nudges that, hey, something here is wrong. And the more wise you get and the more self-knowledge you get, you can begin to really nail it down and stop it in real time. That's the ultimate goal, is stopping it in real time rather than getting back home and going, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. Easier said than done. Okay, the next one is hoovering. This is when like a narcissist will, damage you and abuse you and then call you up like nothing ever happened and just be sweet as pie. And you know that they're trying to manipulate you. You know what they did, or you may have even forgotten what they've done because it's been so long. But they always come back to get more supply if you were a good source. And they always want to make sure that they've got their thumb on you because they live by the power and control. That is their life. It's not like you and I. It's not like a normal person. It's somebody that's manipulative. Okay, playing dumb. The manipulative person is really good. Some of them are very good at just playing dumb at opportune times when it serves them. If it serves them to play dumb, they're going to play dumb. If that's going to help in their agenda of tricking you, fooling you, getting you off your power source, taking away your power and controlling you, then they'll play dumb to do it. I didn't know. What? I don't know. And then you're sitting here trying to explain, and you may think, how can I be being manipulated? I'm super knowledgeable. I'm very understanding. I'm wise, and I'm explaining to them something, but they're playing dumb, and you're trying to explain something to someone who's playing a game and manipulating you. Manipulation is not always done by a manipulative person. I think that we all, as humans, we all have manipulative tactics. I think even children have manipulative tactics that they use. But these are more manipulative patterns of toxic people. I don't think children are toxic. I think that they're cute. Okay, denial. Someone who is toxic and manipulative will deny what they've done. And they may not even acknowledge what they've done, which is a form of denial, I think. They just deny it. They deny it to the end. They didn't do it. Whatever it was, they didn't do it, and they're not going to talk about it, and they're just going to gloss over it. Number 23 is propaganda. Propaganda is, it could be social media, items that they place into social media to make them appear to be a certain way that may or may not be true, real, authentic. It may be meant to dissuade you, to persuade you, to trick you, to fool you, to lead you and guide you down a path that is inherently against your own moral compass, your own values, your own truth. Propaganda is a very powerful tool to get you off of your own path and take away your power and control you. Number 24, manipulative tactic of recruiting others. And this is very painful as a target when you have someone who's recruiting others to get on their side against you. And there was someone talking, they said something about, you're powerful if in order to take you down, your enemy has to recruit a whole bunch of others to take you down. You must be pretty strong. If they couldn't just take you down with one, they had to bring a lot of their friends on board, or they had to create a lot of flying monkeys, recruit flying monkeys to take you down. So that's a very big, it's also the herding technique in Sales 101 when you say, well, everybody's doing it. That's a part of recruiting. You're recruiting everybody. You're using everybody to convince someone to do something. And sales can be manipulative, I guess, if you really looked at it. I think manipulation is really embedded in our everyday life, in our culture, in our society. And I think that, you know, saying that something's $5.99 on sale, that's a form of manipulation. But that's not necessarily, it seeks to control you and get you to spend your money. But it's not like a toxic form, I guess you could say, in order to delineate here. Okay, triangulation is when someone uses a third party, another person or thing, to try to cause you to be jealous and kind of rub it in your face. Like, someone that is really loves something, like let's say rabbits, or let's say someone really loves horses, and then they've got children, and they're constantly showering attention and love on the horses, and the kids are treated like crap. And the horse is, the god or goddess. And then the kids can feel that, sense that, know that, and they may grow up and never realize it until they're older and have a lot of resentment. Triangulation is so nasty. It's like, come on, humans are way more valuable than things. And if you want to be in a relationship with someone, don't be rubbing another relationship you're having into that person's face. Number 26 is name calling, direct name calling. I've had plenty of this. And it's a way to really convince, to manipulate the perception of, manufacture the perception of a person by just calling them names over and over and over again, trying to get everyone else to think the same thing. It's like the opposite. It's social proof, but in a negative form. And, or even anyone name calling you, that's just an attack. That's an assault, an emotional assault. And you have to stand up to that for sure. That's an easy one, huh? Moving the goalposts. This is someone who gives you something that they want you to do, some sort of agenda, and then you do it, and you go to them, and you're like, look, Mom, no hands. I just rode my bike. And they're like, well, now I want you to do a wheelie. And it's never good enough when they are constantly moving the goalposts. You never can quite get there. They're like, I'll meet your need. I'll give you back what you're putting. I'll reciprocate just as soon as you do this. Just as soon as you do this. But the goalposts keep getting moved, and you never quite get there. 28 is generalization and hyperbole. This I got from, I Googled it just because I wanted to see some more manipulative tactics and see if I was missing any. So I don't really know a whole lot about generalization other than in speeches by politicians and certain people that I'm not going to name here because I don't really name people on this channel. But they use sweeping generalizations about things that really, you don't generalize. You need to be specific. If you're dealing with a specific issue, then you need to be specific to that issue and not just generalize or try to incorporate it into, and say that every single person on the planet has this problem, or every single person who is this way, or every time you do this, or you're always doing that. That is a form of manipulation. Okay, number 29, word salad. Word salad. I've been wanting to talk about word salad. I hate word salad. It is so obvious. It's when somebody is just talking in circles and not really saying anything, and they're using a bunch of emotional trigger words that might be triggers, but you don't know what they said, but they look good saying it. And and they're just blah, 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 blah. They're just going on and on and on. It doesn't have a meaning. It doesn't have a beginning. It doesn't have an end. It does. And the meaning and the beginning and the end all has to do with how great they are, or all has to do with I don't know. It's just weird, that word salad. I want to do an entire podcast on it because it's just so fascinating, especially when you see someone talking like that with that salad and you're like, what are they doing? And do they think we are really that stupid? Like, we can see we are not stupid. We have the internet. Okay. Number 30, rewriting history. Very similar to gaslighting when they say, I didn't say that. I don't remember that. I never said that. I didn't say that. I didn't do that. I did that. What? They have a very short memory. They remember nothing. Very manipulative for someone to forget major things that they did to you in the past, or it's very manipulative to have someone say that something that happened in the past didn't happen, or saying that something happened that did happen, saying something didn't happen that did happen. It's just all to confuse, to confound, to gain power and control. Because if you're confused, you're not going to know what to do. And you're going to go to someone to resolve the problem. And they want to be that one person you go to. The one who confuses you wants to be the one to help you work everything out. And they can't help you. They're not really there to help you. They're only going to take from you. 31 is negging and digs. So making little comments that are so small, sometimes just blatant, but just so small that you don't really notice them as they're happening. And little by little, you're just being deduced emotionally and you're not really aware of it. It's just they're negging. Negging is used in the deceptive dating circles. When guys want to become pickup artists, the first thing they learn is how to neg the woman, because it causes the woman to doubt herself. And when you cause someone to doubt herself, she's more in a weak, vulnerable place, and the man can take control, or the dating artist, con artist can take control of the target by using digs, and negging. Number 32, diminishing and dismissing. This is also a form of negging, and it is a form of gaslighting. It is a form of ignoring you. It is so bad. When someone diminishes you and dismisses you, it is so damaging, because it basically says it's a message to you that you do not matter, your feelings do not matter, and you're not worthy. And if you already believe that at all about yourself, and even if you're like the most confident person in the world, you have to be strong in these situations. You have to know how to handle yourself, and have to know how to come back from being diminished or dismissed. You have to know how to protect yourself and set boundaries against this type of behavior, and affirm yourself and know, okay, no, what I have to say is important. And I'm going to say this because it needs to be said. You need to hear me. I have a claim. You're doing something to me that is not okay. And you cannot dismiss my concerns. You have a right to have concerns. A manipulative person wants you to think you do not have a right, wants you to get the impression that you're subhuman, less than human, you have less rights than you have. They will deny, diminish, dismiss, and dig you, give you negative comments about anything they can find that will knock you off your power center. Number 33, harassment and stalking. The stalker's goal is to control its victim. The stalker wishes to own a piece of the victim's mind. So it gives them a sense of control to harass and stalk. And, they feel powerful when they're able to intrude upon the peace of someone or troll. Okay, that is a manipulation tactic to take away your precious energy, to take away your focus, to divert your attention from your life's purpose, and to keep you from doing great things in this world. Number 34, we're almost done. Number 34 is invalidation. This is worthy of 10 audios. This is worthy of 10 podcasts. Invalidation is huge. And that is when someone invalidates your feelings by basically giving you the impression, in a general sense, giving you the impression that your feelings are not okay. Because when you do that, it's shaming someone. Invalidating is saying that you don't know how to feel. You don't know how to be. You are not okay. And there's all sorts of twisted ways that invalidation occurs. And you could have lived a life of invalidation. And if you did, you have a lot of problems to work through. But luckily, it's learned behavior. It's learned skills that you can learn how to get out of. You can learn how to stop being invalidated. And you can learn how to validate yourself and stop invalidating yourself. And you can learn all sorts of things and stop manipulating your darn self, right? Okay, the last one is blaming. I think that's kind of covered that's 35. Ta-da-ta-da. Blaming is 35. I think that's really Darvo. That's a part of Darvo. But it probably deserves its own line in our 35 manipulation tactics of toxic people. Blaming others, blaming them for your problems, blaming them for things that you're doing. Just always, the manipulative person is never going to admit fault at anything. It's always someone else's fault. They are not accountable. They do not own up to anything. And they will always slither out of any confrontation using blaming, diversion, uproar, gaslighting, lies, anything they can to get out of being accountable and being present and seeing you as the real person that you are. Because that doesn't meet their agenda. Seeing you as a human who has rights and needs and wants that they have to meet, and they have to be there for you in real time and connect with you and be real, that's not their goal. That is not their agenda. So they cannot allow it for 1 minute. They're not emotionally available. They're emotionally shut down, and they don't have room for you in their lives. All they want is power and control. They don't want eye contact. They don't want to connect. They don't want to grow with you. They don't want to resolve problems. They don't want to address your needs. And they probably won't admit they have needs of their own, although they do, and they need to control you. So my biggest recommendations for staving off toxic and manipulative people is to stay in tune with your intuition, get to know yourself, and steer clear of these games. Get out of the game, get out of the triangle, and live your happy life, because life is so much better without all of these issues. So that's what I have to say today. What did I miss? Did I miss any manipulative tactics? If I did, please leave me a comment, okay? And if I didn't, please leave me a comment. And if you loved this, please leave me a comment what you liked the best or what really stands out the most in this talk that I'm giving. And also let me know what kinds of topics you would like me to cover in the future, because obviously I'm in a mood. I'm in a mood to create these, so let me know what I can talk about that'll make you guys happy. And until next time, this is Jenna Ryan, and I will talk to you soon.